Welcome to the breakdown. Well, I am Delacremedela, your host of the Breakdown Show. I'm going to zoom right in, past the house rules, past all the hoobalaboo. Listen, I caught myself taking notes. I was trying to see when the meeting resumed from the executive session that they just went into, and I caught myself taking notes. So I figured it would be a good idea to go ahead and press record so that I could share this stuff. Okay, so they've come back from executive session. I'm going to allow us to watch a segment. I want us to take note of something because this white girl pops back up again. Somebody in the comments called her Heidi Kaleidoscope because she has this, oh my God, whatever the fuck she's wearing. You'll notice that she makes sure she stops and chit chats with Keith Freeman before she leaves. I'm still trying to figure out who this white girl is, though. So let's begin. You see her over to the right in all the colors talking to Stacy, Carell, and Juanita Darden. And I didn't notice her until about 1 minute and 47 seconds when the sound started to come out. So Jason probably said something really polite to her as he walked by, like nice colors. Wow. And then of course her and Keith stop and chat before she leaves. She goes out. I told you I had a suspicion that was who he was getting that dry chicken from a couple months ago. Or a couple months worth of meetings ago. And we see Kiana Belcher showing them how to do it. Sorry. Everybody make sure they bring their water because they don't know how the fuck long this gonna take.
Trustee Belcher.
Hi.
All right. Meeting and resume at, let me see what time it is. Sorry about that.
All right. We're going to have the attorney read into record
26.
the motion, and someone just motion and second it. All right, go ahead.
Okay, the motion that we are asking for from the...
Wasn't the clerk still talking? She still didn't say what time it was. Wasn't she still talking? Okay.
board is a motion to give settlement authority to the attorneys as discussed in closed session.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a motion and second? Please call the roll.
Who's second?
Belcher.
Thank you, Belcher. Trustee Norwood.
Aye.
Trustee Stan Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Holmes.
Aye.
Trustee Belcher.
Aye.
Motion passed.
All right, next we have corporate bills. Trustee Stan Brown.
Okay. Electronic
All right, y'all, before Stan Brown begins, let's take a breath of patience because we know. All right, where is my pen? Because I'm sure I'm going to have some notes. Let's go.
list for November the 30th, 2023. Corporate payment register, $363,676.15. Water fund register, $685,903.14. American Rescue Plan registered, $32,713.20 for total corporate payments of $1,082,292.49.
Is that your motion to pay the bills? All right, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Mayor, I have a comment on this one.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. I do have some amendments I want to suggest. There are items on here that, and this is the credit card warrant list. As a board member, I have not seen the credit card statement since May. I have not had access to receipts on any of these. So there are some items on here that I would like to amend if this motion is unsuccessful. Thank you.
Did you make the motion that you want? What you want to change?
Well, there was a current motion. I'm waiting to see if that's it. Should I amend it now?
You want to amend the motion? You want to change the correct?
Are you trying to make a superseding motion?
If I can do that, I would like to, yes.
Well, I procedurally, so that's what you're trying to do. So you're trying to do a motion over the current motion that's pending.
Sure, yes, let's do that.
Okay.
I can
Go
make the motion at this
Go
time?
ahead, make your motion.
Okay, I would like to make a superseding motion. I'm gonna write that down. I would like to make a superseding motion for the bills as read, amending and removing the following items on page 2, Aurelio's Pizza. Sorry, $131.63. Page 2, Best Western Plus, $318.14. Page 2, Chicago Midway Airport, $200. Page 3, Cooper's Hawk Winery, $557.68. Page 3, Dollar Tree, $145.32. Page 3, Food for Less, $107.99. Page 6, Irie Jerk Hut, $1,356.22. Page 6, Italian Fiesta, $113.59. Page 6, JJ Fish and Chicken, $68. Page 7, Johnny T's Bistro and Blues, $90.30. Page 7, Kirk's Barbecue, $676. Page 8, Potbelly Sandwich Shop, $126.57. Page 8, Ruby Soul Food, $674. Page 9, Sophia Tamales and Corn, $2,400 even. And page 9, The Tasty Crab, $458.79. My motion would be that we pay the bills as read, removing the items stated.
All right, is there a second? Second. Okay, there's been a motion and second. Any discussion? All right, so I have a discussion. So, well, the problem I have with you guys coming to board meetings and acting as though y'all don't get things, I don't appreciate. I think this year you should tell the truth that you guys don't do your job. And if you need information, you should ask for information that you feel you need. Don't get to a board meeting and put on a show. How you gonna lead Trustee House when you don't even know where to start? You have to lead, stop leading blind. You're leading them blindly and y'all following him. That's the sad part about it. Prime example, this is a what? Electric warrant list. That means they did what? It's already spent. So how dare you get here and showboat for the people out there in the audience? You already know what it is. So why are we sitting here playing this game, wasting time, saying I'm gonna take this out, that out? It's already been paid. Come on now, stop playing. This is 2024. Let's move forward. Let's handle the business and stop letting the business handle y'all, because y'all keep coming playing games. I'm just over it. Like, come on, let's focus on the business, move forward. And if anybody know what our authorities are up here, which let me remind you, if my authority is $5,000, y'all pulling out $200, $100. Stop it. If his authority is $20,000, stop it. That's what I'm saying. It's a show. Stop sending the people off. Let's move forward with the business. It's an electric warrant list. That means it has been paid. But go ahead for the optics. If y'all want to do that, call the roll, clerk.
Mayor, you asked for discussion, then I'll try to speak.
I'm going to say one word, optics. That is how you summarize everything she just said. Optics. That's how dumb this is today. You good, you got me. I'm making coffee right now. I'm trying to be nice. Listen, For the record, that's why Stan Brown and Tiffany Henyard, that's why, for the record, that's why the attorney didn't question it. Because for the record, they need to note for the record that these items were purchased with the corporate, with the village credit cards without board approval. And they're not things that have receipts in my viewpoint. For the record, not for optics.
Can you start talking? So can I?
No, I didn't start talking. I didn't hear you say
did.
anything. But if you want to say something, just ask to be recognized again.
Well, can
if
I
we
be
gonna run this
recognized?
business the way it's supposed to, let's be respectable. Follow Robert rules of order. But go ahead, since you got something to say now.
I do have something
Go ahead.
to say. It's an electronic warrant list.
Okay.
Electronic. Also, you made it very clear that
Not an electric warrant list. Electronic warrant. Not a wiggy, okay?
these have been paid. Last meeting, which I said, and the finance director wasn't here at that time, but I'm so glad she's here now. She stated that we didn't have a credit card anymore because she said the trustees cut it off.
That's
So, okay, so if we don't have, I requested in the email, could we get the final statement? Because if we haven't received the credit card since May of 2023, and she stated that we cut it off, no documentation has showed that it's been cut off. So what card are they using outside of ACH debits?
Okay, before you start, I'm gonna give you the floor. Let's clear some things up. You guys did cut it off. You guys, hold on, I'm gonna explain it so you'll know. You guys had control of the bank account that trustee had.
Now, this isn't very important. I'm going to cut in here and I'm going to go back a little bit because I want you guys to hear this conversation. Because very recently, we heard Tangenique Miller, the finance director, say there was also an Amex that was issued to Deputy Chief Lacey, now Chief Lacey. So here you see, this is where Tiffany Henyard brought out that piece of paper, this meeting right here, when she brought out that piece of paper with all them yellow highlights that ain't nobody seen up close yet. The same time I reminded you that the police in China told me by law I had to show them my daughter's birth certificate if ever I stepped into a government building, and I asked to see that law, and they brought me a facsimile cover sheet with nothing on it. Found the first piece of paper they could find in English and didn't know what it said. So I never showed my baby's birth certificate just because I stepped into a government building. That's not law. But we ain't seen this paper yet that Tiffany Henyard is about to produce. I just want to bring us back to this conversation. I want to remind us of this lie. We done already got through the deficit versus debt lie. Now let's talk about the credit card lie. I'm going to go back and I'd like us to hear what Trustee Kiana Belcher said again about the credit cards and what Tiffany Henyard responds and what Tangenique Miller responds.
You made it very clear that these have been paid. Last meeting, which I said, and the finance director wasn't here at that time, but I'm so glad she's here now. She stated that we didn't have a credit card anymore because she said the trustees cut it off.
That's
so,
true.
Okay, so if we don't have, I requested in the email, could we get the final statement? Because if we haven't received the credit card since May of 2023, and she stated that we cut it off, no documentation has showed that it's been cut off. So what card are they using outside of ACH debits?
Okay, before you start, I'm gonna give you the floor. Let's clear some things up. You guys did cut it off. You guys, hold on, I'm gonna explain it so you'll know. You guys had control of the bank account that Trustee House did illegally, and Clerk Key went illegally and hijacked the bank account for an entire year. You know, like I know, anybody that understand money know that you cannot see anybody's information when someone else is on the bank account.
That's not a debit card.
Hold
It's a
on.
credit card.
That's what I'm speaking of. You gonna let me finish?
Go ahead.
That's what I said. We got to be respectful. You say your stuff, I'll be quiet. You got to be quiet when I talk. So what I'm saying to you is that if you guys have done that, which y'all did as trustees, no one up here could see anything that y'all was doing for an entire year. We didn't have access to anything because Jason House was on the bank account, and so was Allison Key. The mayor wasn't on it. So we couldn't call, check up, check in, see what was going on because you guys was the holders on the account. So that's number one. Number two, I'm going to let her respond to your question because you get here at a board meeting and you know how to pick up the phone, call my phone.
Girl,
Hopefully you'll do that this year since you said you want change and you want us to work together. It had to start by starting, Trustee Belcher. You can't sit here and say that out your mouth and then don't do it. So we're going to see what happened because you could have called if you had questions instead of coming, put on the same show we just did for an entire year. Y'all should be tired of that. Y'all should be ready to actually do some progress in the village besides sit here and we arguing over warrant lists. Come on now. People do work in our village. They should be paid for the work they have done. But yet y'all hold the progress, hold the people hostage, picking and choosing who y'all want to pay. That's not right. That's discriminatory. You guys are discriminating against people because what? They didn't give y'all money for y'all D2s? Like, why do y'all pull people out of this trustee house? Y'all need to stop with the mess. Go ahead, Finance Director.
Good evening. Our bank accounts do not have a debit card, to be clear.
No, you don't, bitch. Hold on. How come Tiffany Henyard and Stan Brown both use the wrong word to describe this situation? How come they both say discriminating when that's not what this is? Go ahead, Tanjanique.
The credit cards are issued by the bank. The last card was canceled or suspended in June by whoever had administrative rights over that account, which is not anyone sitting up here.
Thank you.
That's staff. So the last statement that you received was in June for that account.
Okay, the last statement we received was in May. I said it and I was very clear when I said it. I said in communication because you just stated be respectful to people, not you, Tanjanique. I'm talking to the mayor. Be respectful, but Janice Johnson had access to the account. So for mayor, for you to sit there and say only the clerk and Jason House, that's an absolute lie because she cuts the check. So I'm sure she wasn't cutting the check blindly. Also, we have stuff on this list from June. She makes the decisions what checks go out, what y'all tell her to hold and not hold. So that means she had access because we had emails from the bank that showed the people that had access and control, because at some point you guys stopped letting the clerk and Jason House even see what was in the account, and they had to send the information via email. So don't get up here and say nobody had access to the account, because Janice Johnson and I'm sure the finance director Tanjanique had access. Nevertheless, I just want to be very clear because I requested, if you're saying that it was canceled, show us the June statement that was canceled, because for at some point or some shape, form, or fashion, when you did get back on the bank account and the clerk was on the account at the time, the last statement started showing the American Express card that's been used through the police department, when Tanjanique said there was no credit card at all. When the American Express card originally had $3,000 here, $3,000 there that we were seeing until we were moved from my viewpoint. Now it's 37,000. 50,000, 28,000. So that means that all of the transactions that was on the Fifth Third account have now been used through the American Express card. Right. I don't care if it's Fifth Third, American Express, US Bank, we're entitled to it. So please just give us access to either accounts payable again on my viewpoint or the credit card, so we don't have to sit here. We can see what you spent it on and move forward. I see something on here that Trustee House took off, which I would have been like, oh, I think I know what that is from the way that it's line item, but I'm not going to sit here and fight a battle that I don't have a receipt for. So just be fair.
Can I address
Go ahead.
Janice had access to see the account, to print out bank balances, which we had to do based on a court order.
Yes.
That's why we provided bank balances daily. That was by court order.
Right, but the mayor just said that nobody had access to it.
Administrative access was only by the two people who were over the account, which they were the only ones who could add or cancel any card on the account. That was not something Janice could do. She did not have that access.
Correct.
Any check that Janice cut had to be signed by those two people who had administrative access. Janice could not issue a check without those signatures first.
Preach.
Is there anything else?
You got
Trustee House or Clerk Key, did either one of y'all cut off the credit card?
I'm trying to understand why Tanjanique is so upset. If these are just administrative misunderstandings, why are you so tackily, disrespectfully, unnecessarily upset? Just answer the question. You rolling your eyes and stuff. What are you covering up? What do you think you're being suspected of? What do you think you're being questioned of doing? If there's just a simple explanation to why and what, just answer the question. All that attitude just makes you look guilty. For real, for real. That's what it do. It makes you look guilty. This one. And that one.
Okay,
Got
thank
an
you.
email from the bank.
Please forward the email to the Board of Trustees.
You have it tonight.
I've been waiting on a whole lot of stuff.
Okay,
that you said
so-
I had.
Well, you gonna get that email
I
tonight.
have a comment, Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
When we're talking about access to the bank and the information, myself and Clerk Key, checks were printed by the finance department. Checks were presented to myself and the clerk. We would sign the checks, assuming they were approved on the warrant list. Once the checks were signed, they were handed immediately back to the finance department. Now, what happened with the checks beyond that point was beyond Clerk Key and myself's knowledge. Some checks were released, from my understanding, some checks were not released. But that's past the point of our role in that process. Secondly, when we're talking about the credit card, I made no request to cancel a credit card. I would have liked to. I'll be honest with you, I would like to, but I made no changes. That everything was scrutinized through the court. If there was something improperly done, the court would say so. So there was no changes. And then additionally, when we're talking about credit card charges, in order to make a charge on the credit card, you have to have the credit card in your hand. So every item that we're talking about being charged had nothing to do with myself, had nothing to do with Clerk Key. It had to do with the card holder and the person that had the card in their hand. I didn't take any trips. I didn't fly anywhere. I didn't do anything that benefited Jason House or anybody else improper. Every charge we're talking about was done by the card holder. And so whoever authorized that, that's their responsibility. As Trustee Belcher mentioned, all we're really asking for is the documentation and the proof. Personally, I would say ask that it be put on the website so that way it's transparent, because we spend a lot of time in this meeting saying, I sent that, I didn't send it. At this point, please, anything you send to me, put it on the website. I'll get it for myself. Thank you.
Go ahead, Tajani. So you keep saying allege. That's not a true statement. Allegedly, use it the right way.
What?
Because when they give you the check, it's the items you voted on, Trustee House. And for the record, it's... So you keep saying allege. That's not a true statement. Allegedly, use it the right way. Because when they give you the check, it's the items you voted on, Trustee House. And for the record, it's many a times this body, this board have voted for you guys to sign checks and you refuse to sign the checks at all. So when you state facts, state the truth, state facts that make sense. You're making up things that sound good for you or what you feel that you want doing or whatever with a credit card. Stop. It's all like a spin cycle up here. That's all y'all do. Y'all get up here, we put on a show for information. Let's move forward. And all I was stating, wish y'all just...
Mayor, we in the spirit of working together, because it is 2024 and we all just sat up here and stated that our whole goal is to work together for the betterment of the community. When you sit here and you say, can you hear me? When you sit here and you say we don't want to go back and forth, we do not want to go back and forth. But
remember, the young lady said Maisha Williams, who was the former water director, before Juanita Darden stepped in and agreed to not give certain people permits who probably should have permits because the mayor told her not to. For some reason, Juanita Darden is agreeing to not give people permits who should have permits because the mayor tells her to. But remember, Maisha Williams said that they would have mock trials before every meeting, which is kind of like a practice meeting where they would practice muting the trustees because the mayor didn't want them to have a voice. I'm quoting her.
Goal is to work together for the betterment of the community. When you sit here and you say, can you hear me? When you sit here.
So that is the village directors, most likely Juanita Darden, muting Brittany Norwood. That's not a technical error. That is the village directors, most likely Juanita Darden, muting trustee Brittany Norwood.
And you say we don't want to go back and forth. We do not want to go back and forth. But then you all say out of your mouths, we have credit card statements that we don't have. They're missing. They're clearly missing if we do not have them, if they were not emailed to us, if they were not sent to us. And as we all know, my viewpoint access, our access has been denied, restricted, should I say. So yes, we can access it, but we cannot look up receipts. I remember as a trustee, you sat in that very seat and you stated to the mayor at the time that you would not blindly vote on bills or options that you've met on things that were purchased that you cannot present receipts or evidence for. You stated that out of your mouth as a trustee. So it baffles me that we sit up here and now that you're the mayor, when the very trustees are asking for this information, you're stating in that term, oh, well, we've sent it to you, knowing that you all didn't. We're not asking for anything that you didn't ask for as a trustee. Let's first make that clear. We're also missing financial statements. We haven't received financial statements in months. How is it that as a board, we're over the finances? That's the trustee's job. We keep hearing, oh, well, no one's doing their job. No one's doing their job. This is our job. We are here for checks and balances, whether you all like it or not. So if we request the information, it should be provided to us. But yet we sit here and then we have invoices. We have emails every day. Dear Village of Dalton, let's start here. Dear Village of Dalton, I have a payment for work that I've done. I'm going to take out the invoice number for their privacy. Where Village of Dalton they purchased lights. The board approved the lights in June. Here it is. We're in January of the following year. They haven't received payment. Here's another email. Please see email below from the vindicating indicating that he has not received payment or communication on this bill. Payment invoice.
And that order for those lights was placed through Stacy Carell.
Then he have all of these invoices. This object was approved by the board in September, and we're steady waiting for payments. Hold on, there's one more.
Are you done?
No, there's one more. Hold on, let me locate it. Here we are, 9/11 from this vendor. We called Keith at 12. He said that the check was mailed. We spoke to Janice. They said that the check was mailed.
This is the letter that we read from the attorney Daniel Timms, who's I believe his last name is Timms. He's representing the epoxy company PureTech, who did $65,000 worth of epoxy coating for the ice skating rink. I don't even think Brittany Norwood knows at this moment that what she has in her hand is evidence of fraud, because that order was made by Scott Gilmore, who is a village director of the maintenance department. He's the maintenance manager. He made that order for Tiffany Henyard, but that wasn't an order for his department. That was for the mayor. And that was her pet project, a piece of land she's taken hostage that nobody has access to unless she's having an event there. So I don't know if at the time Brittany Norwood even knows that she's holding evidence of fraud in her hands, because none of that should have happened. Scott Gilmore should have never placed that order for an item that was for Tiffany Henyard, and that epoxy flooring should have only been paid by Tiffany Henyard, not the Village of Dalton. So in that letter, the letter was made to Tiffany Henyard directly, the Honorable Mayor Tiffany Henyard, and inside that letter that was I think sent in October or November of 2023, the attorney stated he talked to Keith Freeman, who sent him to Janice Johnson. How come Tanjanique Miller's never came up in here? And then Tanjanique sent him to Scott Gilmore. Scott Gilmore ghosted him after a little while. And the attorney said, okay, we got a lot of tea on you, Mayor. If you don't give us our money and get our client paid their $65,000, you gonna start seeing yourself on the news a lot, honey. And here we are.
Email was sent. Several calls to the villages, which were all unanswered. Then we sent emails to the following trustees: Jason House, Brittany Norwood, Kiana Belcher. So when we're receiving these invoices and when we're questioning these things, we're not doing it to go back and forth. There has to be some type of transparency. We will not be able to work forward as a village if we don't have transparency. And that's all we're asking for. If you don't want to email us the receipts or provide us with the receipts, make it easy. Provide us backward access with my viewpoint so that we're not back and forth. But I just want to state for the record that it's unfair that as the mayor, you don't see fit for us to receive this information. But as trustee, this is the very thing that you were fighting for: transparency. Thank you, Mayor.
For the record, trustee.
Before she goes into her diatribe, y'all, my battery is dying on this iPad. And so I am going to cut the meeting here. We are 2 hours and 9 minutes and 38 seconds into this meeting that still has another roughly 20 minutes left to go, Jesus. She said, for the record. The last note I said was for the record. That's funny because I was saying that's the reason why they're even bringing this stuff up as a motion to amend the warrant list is for the record. But now you want to start what you got to say with for the record. I can only imagine how long it's going to take. So anyway, for now, that's all I got. Ain't got no more. I holler.